It's Mr.
Man, oh man, boy, do we have a fight here, boy. I feel like this fight here is kind of like, and this is with all due respect to both parties involved. This fight here was kind of funny, man, because of course this is another fight taking place in the Streetbeefs Tampa event that I was a part of, or whatever the case. It's like 2 weeks ago, and the reason I say this fight is really kind of funny and unique is because Friday, well, once we got there, okay, we pulled up, and it's just me, my brother, and my homie. We pulled up, and there was one other guy that was there too, but we seen him as we was pulling up, coming out, or whatever the case. And like we was thinking, like, damn, like what's going on? Is it must be like real, like early or whatever the case may be. It was still like doing the last little bit of touch-ups here and there. And yeah, it was this guy named Dat Boss, the one that's gonna be in the video now. We got Dat Boss going against I think it's Lit Rob. I think that's what his name is. Yeah, Badass going against Lit Rob. And Badass, we pretty much ran into him, and he was just talking to us, telling us like where he from, that he came here all alone or whatever the case, and that he pretty much almost kind of like in a sense came for like a beef match, because Lit Rob, the guy that he was matched up with, I guess they had like a little bit of back and forth on social media or whatever the case. I'm not sure. I don't know. But once the event, you know, it was starting to get a little bit thick and people were starting to show up or whatever, his opponent had finally showed up. And mind you, that Badass, you know, since we was the first person that we ran into, we pretty much clicked up instantly, you know, just talking or whatever the case may be. Seemed pretty cool dude from Georgia or whatever the case. Seemed like an alright guy. What was funny is that while we was there, the guy that he had a fight with just so happened to be in the, they both was like getting ready to, like, you know, cause they already did the matchmaking and everything. They both was getting ready to pretty much like get ready to step in the ring. There was like a few fights before them or whatever. And the whole time, man, like it was funny, man, cause I can keep saying that, but I'm gonna get to it. It's funny because that Badass kept like trying to seem like, it seemed like he was trying to intimidate the man. Like they kept going back and forth with one another. It was very cordial, very friendly competition, like very friendly trash talking. And it was a lot of stuff that me and my brother had picked up on that was kind of like real funny, man. Like, I don't know what Badass would call himself doing, man, but you know, I get warming up, and then there's like weirdly warming up, and to me, he was just doing like some warm-ups to where he was in front of the guy that he was finna fight, and like me just let my mind run wild. It looked to me like as if he was trying to like show him like what he working with or whatever the case may be. I don't know why or if that even was the case, but at least that's what it looked like to me. And I was really looking forward to this fight because they was really going like back and forth with one another. It didn't never escalate or get too serious, but it was funny the fact that they was like kind of going back and forth, saying that, oh man, you better be ready. Okay, yeah, man, we'll see, we'll take care of it in the ring or whatever the case may be. And it just, the fight played out a whole lot different than I thought it would have went. Put it like that, honestly. Like, just witnessing all that, the back and forth, I already kind of had an idea in my mind how it was going to play out because of that. And to some degree, it did kind of come to fruition. But also, I would hope that this would be like a good little lesson for both guys to, like, you know, look back on and understand that, you know, sometimes it's going to be like this. And I think it's really mostly about who has the greater composure, who able to keep composure more, who able to kind of like be in the midst of their opponent, and then also at the same time not be so caught up in the aura of what's going on around you that it doesn't take away from what you got going on in your fight or whatever the case may be. But I ain't gonna say no more, man. It's better to watch it. I just gave my little 2 cents on the lead up to that. And yeah, this is Lit Rob going against Badass, man. MMA match, of course.
I'm 6 foot tall. My fight name's Lit Rob. Here to win.
Lit Rob, he in my weight class. I don't know. and Badass, he just ready to fight. He was doing that same little bouncing thingy he was doing right now for his warm-ups, just doing a whole bunch of hopping around, bouncing around and stuff. It was funny, like watching him doing his little warm-ups. Not saying he was doing anything wrong or whatever the case. It was just funny. When I saw this, man, I thought he was a wrestler, and when he made that maneuver right there, almost like a fireman carry over in the guard, I thought he would have been like all right, but after watching this and then seeing this happen, it kind of let me know that he's kind of not that experienced when it comes to like mixed martial arts, or at least the MMA aspect. So he got wrestling, which I feel like would have been better, and then he got the size too, so he had that as an advantage. This guy here, the whole time during the event, we was thinking like he got like a Sean O'Malley vibe, so we knew he was kind of a striker. But in this moment here, he was able to lock up a guillotine, and from my POV, it was tight. Even right here is tight. Now watch his hand. That looked like a tap. And that's why you see the confusion. Because when I seen it, it was a tap. It looked like a tap. But he was saying, and this is just weird because it's like it was a tap. Like he said it wasn't, but I'm not gonna lie, it kind of did look like a tap. Because even when I watched it live, I like right there seeing it, I was sitting down watching it, and it looked like he tapped out. So I thought he tapped, but they started the position over and gave him back the position that they was in before the break. So this is the continuation from that. Fighting the wrist, fighting the hands. Not as tight as it was, but Lit Rob was able to posture up and throw down some heavy elbows, man. Them things was nasty. And that Badass really didn't have an answer for it, and he ended up giving up his back. Ended up giving up his back, and ended up getting in a worse position. While Lit Rob over here is getting lit, as his namesake, and choked him out. Shit's easy.
Shout out my beautiful daughter Claire.
And that's a nasty hematoma.
Solve it in the yard and we leave.
Yeah, that fight was nasty, man. Like, yee. It's not funny, but it's just for some reason for me, man. It's like I said, man. When I guessed what I thought would have happened in that fight, a part of me knew that was gonna be the outcome. Cause to be honest, that Badass just seemed he seemed like he was too ready for it, or not, or at least he just seemed like I don't think he knew what he was getting himself into, and if he did, I don't think he trained or prepared for it. So I think Lit Rob pretty much had the experience in terms of readiness over Badass to me. And then let's talk about that whole finishing sequence, that guillotine or whatever. To me, like I say, man, while watching it, it looked like Badass tap. And this is with no disrespect to the guy or anything like that. Like, you know, like I said, we met him, seemed like a pretty cool dude. We ended up taking him back to the Greyhound so he can get back home and everything. Talked to him a little bit there, and he seemed like a pretty cool, chill dude. And it's actually kind of funny because after seeing the after effects of the fight, how he had a big hematoma on his head, he was saying that his head had hit the edge of the ring. And honestly, bro, I didn't see that in the fight. Like, maybe watching it live, I could have believed it because there was a lot of bodies in the way, and then where I was sitting at, you know, I'm trying to like already like look and see, because I think his fight took place after my fight, and after my fight, my leg was pretty much dead or whatever the case. But I'm trying to like watch and see the fight, so That's why I thought maybe it could have been possible, because in the video they did fall over into the dirt or whatever the case. So I thought it might have happened then, but as they broke them up or whatever the case, I noticed his head and I didn't really see nothing on there. So I'm thinking maybe the elbows that Lit Rob threw down on him probably caused that, and because they were so hard, maybe he probably thought they showed up when he fell out of the ring or whatever the case. But I think it really was them elbows that did it. He tried to make it seem like that was the case, and it was a guy that was also there that was recording for Streetbeefs named Quan. He had like another camera, and he was able to kind of like get close up on it. And I remember seeing on his page that the Badass was saying that that had happened when I had hit the edge of the ring or whatever the case. And Daquan on his video, the way he edited it, he was able to show it, to go back and show what actually might have caused it. And of course it was the elbows. And then he had this little funny little gif or whatever the case that went along with it. And it was funny, but also it kind of clarified, like, yeah, maybe Badass probably don't know what actually happened, because his head didn't hit no edge of anything. Like, they was mostly in the ring the whole time, and the only time that they did leave out the ring was when they were scrambling for position and they ended up spilling over or whatever the case may be. But yeah, man, it was pretty bad and pretty nasty damage Lit Rob was able to throw down. Like I say, man, Lit Rob seemed like the O'Malley kind of archetype, so maybe his stand-up is already good, but he damn sure showed good jiu-jitsu, whatever the case. If anything, I would say, like, stay in the gym, keep in the gym, work on your conditioning, work on your stamina, work on all the basics and whatever, and keep with it. As for Badass, man, like, you gotta start from square one and find a gym. Find a place where you can, like, take up boxing or wrestling or whatever the case may be. Wrestling especially, because it seems like wrestling might be your bread and butter, so find like a wrestling gym or MMA gym somewhere in your area in Georgia. I'm pretty sure there's some in Georgia or whatever the case may be. Also too, I seen on the comments, man, people were saying like he was pretty much being a cheater or whatever the case because he didn't tap out or whatever the case. I don't know, I can't call it. Only thing I can say is, like, to me that looked like it was a tap. So, I mean, I'm going to go with that. That probably was a tap, but he said it wasn't. And whichever case it may be, I think it's important that we practice good sportsmanship, guys. Because, like, if you know that you was getting ready to tap or you was about to just call it quits or whatever the case may be, you in a losing side of the field, don't cheat yourself or cheat anybody else by saying that, you tapped out and you didn't tap out or whatever the case, just to get a restart or whatever the case. I don't know if that was the case in point for Badass, but we see how that plays out. That sometimes you can get scrutinized in the opinion of the public or whatever because of that, especially if you got it on a video in HD, no less. So it's important to practice good sportsmanship, guys. No matter what branch of street beefs you in, no matter what organization you in, MMA, kickboxing, or whatever the case, it's always good to practice good sportsmanship because, your bad sportsmanship is being recorded. It's on display for people to see, and people will call you out on it. And sometimes it's good not to take it to heart, but other times you got to look at yourself and realize when you're wrong or whatever the case may be. So, Badass, I don't know if that's the case for you, but just take the message in stride and just learn and get better from it, man, because that's all we can do at the end of the day. But other than that, man, it was a damn good fight from both guys, man. They both put on a hell of a performance. Hope to see both of guys come back and, yeah, man, put on another good show, man. This been your boy, Kid Savage, back with another Street Beefs commentary. Street Briefs. Sound like a damn underwear. But, yeah, hope to see you guys soon, man. Peace.
Ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh. Say I'm scared to commit, but you waste time. Want a real man, but you run when he come around.